Tzu Chi volunteers from different parts of Taiwan visit Hualien quake victims to calm their anxious minds. Nurses from Tzu Chi Kedah Dialysis Center remind patients to eat healthy during the Lunar New Year. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret. Thank you for joining us. As Hualien, Taiwan was badly damaged by a massive earthquake, many local residents still feel frightened. To calm residents' anxious minds, Tzu Chi volunteers from different parts of the country have divided into different groups to visit the quake victims. Upon seeing the volunteers, many residents were moved to tears, and they also used the chance to vent their emotions. On this day, Tzu Chi volunteers took more than 100 different routes to conduct home visits. They went door to door to deliver Jinsi instant rice and other supplies. Upon seeing the volunteers, Miss Lee stepped up to greet them while also venting her emotions. Chen Zhuxiang's husband works out of town. On the day when the earthquake rocked Hualien, Chen brought her two grandchildren to flee their home. The Dharma master leads Chen to read Jinsi aphorisms, calming her anxious mind. Miss Wan, whose legs were amputated due to diabetes, says that she was unable to run when the earthquake took place. Her foreign caregiver was so scared that she stayed by her side all the time. Tzu Chi volunteers conduct home visitations to calm local residents' anxious minds, letting them know that they are fortunate since they are all safe and sound. Days after the Hualien earthquake, Master Zhen Yan has told us to spread great love and do good deeds for people in need. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers invited everyone to join a prayer ceremony held at the Wanhua Jinsi Hall. Meanwhile, Tzu Chi Canada chapter also hosted a prayer ceremony to gather everyone's kind thoughts.
Wanhua Jinsi Hall is full of people today because everyone comes with a great heart. Lin Yuanmei has mobility problems, but she still wants to put in some efforts for Hualien's earthquake.
I'm also a commissioner. I feel a bit weak this time, but I still try my best to come because it's my blessing to be here.
Even if one can't go to the disaster area, one can help in other ways. Su Wangshi remember when her house caught a fire 20 years ago. Tzu Chi volunteers were there to help out. She felt deeply for Hualien's earthquake victims and saved up this month's grocery expenses and donated it. Distance away in Canada, Tzu Chi volunteers also host prayer ceremony to pray for Hualien.
We must make ourselves to be the most reliable and trusted group of people when we conduct home visitations. This time, Hualien's Jinsi Hall opened its space for people to stay because this is one of the reasons it exists. Also, when we reconstruct every school, no matter how it was built in the past, we must rebuild it with the highest standard.
It's impressive Tzu Chi can host a blessing and prayer ceremony in such a short notice so that we can all pray for Hualien's earthquake and the affected people together. I'm very touched by this.
Great love can transcend boundaries as everyone garners their kind thoughts to pray for the less fortunate.
The recent earthquake in Hualien was quite serious, with researchers investigating the mirror fault as a means of learning more about future seismic activity. From Qixingtang Bridge to National Donghua University, roads were disrupted as they were atop the fault. Now researchers have set up a microseism network to conduct a comprehensive exploration of geographic data in the area, potentially mitigating future earthquake disasters.
Following a team of disaster investigators, we visit the closed Qixingtang Bridge to get a close-up look at the power of the earthquake. Damage to the bridge is quite serious just above the Milong Fault, meaning that any moment it could collapse. However, from another perspective, this can be a very useful teaching material.
那这个其实很好判断说，它断层到底是左移右移。
Using the broken double yellow line, you can clearly identify the direction of the dislocation, as well as the potential threat of the fault.
The ground to our left moved this way, and then the land to the right moved forward. This is where it moved on the left.
In the case of a yellow line like this, one can judge exactly what kind of a fall it is because of its movement is called a left shift fall.
对，所以也证明说我们之前看说，整个纵谷大概就是左移的形态。
Scholars think this destructive power that is from the Hualien fault does not happen without reason.
This is a tourist attraction in Hualien, the main thoroughfare of Qixingtan. You can see how strong the force of the earthquake as all of this over here has been broken. The road and this asphalt section are all broken.
Because of the location of Qixingtan on the northernmost tip of the Hualien Fault, it extends southward across the land and passes through the southwest side of the Hualien Mountain into Hualien City until it reaches the coast. The total length is about 7 kilometers on land. And this earthquake did not just affect Qixingtan, but also the campus of National Donghua University, as well as the Yumen Cuidi building, the collapsed Marshall Hotel, and other buildings damaged along this fault line. However, 2 years ago, the site was announced to be an active fault, and the surrounding 300 meters around it was a geologically sensitive area, which was considered as a hidden danger of a major earthquake.
We drew this line showing the extent of geologically sensitive zone, and a lot of damage occurred within this band. Geologically, there is more to learn as we must take a closer look to see the real damage and see what evidence has been produced on the surface and what is the result of this fault and what direction it is moving.
Chen Wen-san is a professor of geosciences at National Taiwan University. He rushed immediately to Hualien to conduct a field survey after the earthquake. He confirmed it was a result of a fault that goes from Qixingtan to the Hualien campus of Donghua University.
The horizontal movement is frightening here, and there was a drop in height, and the height as this is a phenomenon that we have seen before. To the east of Hualien Fault leaps up higher, and to the west it dips slightly lower.
The school campus is located on fault zone, and surrounding roads together with underground culverts and drainage channels have all been torn apart.
这个钢筋都断了，它本来是衔接嘛，然后现在它这拉扯之后就断掉了。
A full row of steel rebar has been broken, creating a gaping hole in the road, which is a reminder of the destructive power of nature. From these aerial images of the fault, we are led into Hualien's urban areas, where the destructive power is on display as we see that the Yumen Cuidi building was damaged by the fault.
You can see this here on the ground, as this seams shows there is a fault passing right underneath it, as it follows the fault like the both sides seem to be ripped apart.
You can see from this image that the building is experiencing a very serious tilt, as some suspect that the building must be on top of the Hualien fault to cause such a disaster. But actually, this is not the case, as this building is not in the fault zone and not even in the geologically sensitive area.
After conducting our survey, the fault activity only extended to the former Hualien Teachers College, which is the Hualien campus of National Donghua University. The ground in urban areas like Ruptured Road is due to the shaking from the earthquake and the ground squeezing together.
If the Hualien fault did not pass underneath the Yumen Cuidi building and there was no soil liquefaction after the earthquake, then what was the cause of this building collapse? Many believe it was not due to fault dislocation. What is the real mechanism for damage? Everyone is still looking for an answer. The Eastern Taiwan Earthquake Research Center, along with other geological survey units, initiated an integrated platform to survey and record these seismic activities.
我在花莲，我很忙，你们一整天没睡觉，不知道是不是？
24 hours after the earthquake, researchers were busy collecting information, including aerial photography, which explored the disaster. They also carried out spot measurement and analysis, and the results of the preliminary survey revealed.
This is a relatively rare phenomenon for an earthquake, as besides the obvious foreshock, the main shock is the aftershock, which was level 6. There were many other tremors which were more than level 5.
这个220其实就是在花莲，现在在摇，你看来了，这个会先到。
Discussing earthquakes, and suddenly an earthquake hits as a sudden siren interrupts this visit.
想完了。
Although located in an earthquake zone, the recent earthquake in Hualien was quite different because of the vibration pattern, which leads many to feel nervous.
This time, with the level 6 earthquake aftershocks are bound to happen within a 3 to 6 month period. Everyone is very concerned about the next stage. If there will be more earthquakes, as monitoring for the aftershock is quite important.
Earthquakes in Hualien are frequent, but there are only a few seismic detectors, so the research team decided to deploy a microseism network to probe the degree of geological fragmentation, which is sort of like taking an X-ray.
Unlike the Weather Bureau, we can detect smaller aftershocks as long as an earthquake is detected this particular plate and take a picture, which is like an X-ray, showing what is going on in our lawns.
There are 33 active faults in Taiwan. For an earthquake of magnitude 7 on the Richter scale, the potential for the Meilun fault is the highest, while the ongoing aftershocks are becoming more and more in a southerly location. What worries people is whether it will trigger other fault activities leading to a larger earthquake.
Its aftershocks go all the way to the south. We know that East Reef Valley has a very large fault zone, so we are afraid that it will trigger some other southbound fault zones.
我们的房子垮了，我们现在房子垮，现在我们就要离开。要过去了。
Spending the night in Hualien, one could hear the sound of many rescue staff working. The process of search and rescue reminds us that we must be more humble in the face of Mother Nature. After all, this earthquake does not guarantee there will be not another one in the future, as such risks continue to be present.
Multiple aftershocks are still occurring after the earthquake, and local residents are living in fear and anxiety, worrying their life might be endangered. A psychiatrist suggests that people can seek companionship from friends and family to ease their emotional pressure. One can also seek assistance from doctors if necessary.
The continued broadcasting on every media outlet about the earthquake is like adding salt on their wounds for all the homeless earthquake victims. Some people might experience irritations, anxieties, insomnia, or acute stress disorder that could cause non-stop nightmares. The psychiatrist suggested that patients must first find a way out for their emotions or transfer their attentions.
The first step is to change your behavioral patterns, for example, sharing with others, or put your energy into the disaster relief work to help others when you are available.
One can seek help from your friends and share your experience with each other, but sometimes our mental stress can lead to physical problems and thus lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. The doctor points out that one should be aware of warning signs when you have difficulties to focus or sleep.
When you keep trapping yourself in a repeating and stubborn, anxious emotions, we call it ruminant thinking. Actually, we can use some medicine to help so that you can calm down and sleep better. I believe that if you can sleep well and eat well, that means you are healthy.
Learning to deal with the pressure is the foundation to rebuild homeland. The doctor reminds everyone not to face emotions alone and don't be afraid to seek professional help if experiencing post-trauma anxiety symptoms.
As the Lunar New Year is approaching, nurses from the Tzu Chi Dialysis Center in Kedah, Malaysia, reminded dialysis patients to pay attention to their diets during a holiday. Students from the Jitra Teachers Training College also came to entertain the patients, bringing love and care to them.
新年快乐 from KDC family.
As the Lunar New Year is approaching, nurses from the Tzu Chi Dialysis Center in Kedah, Malaysia, have prepared gifts for dialysis patients. At the same time, they have also reminded the patients to control their diets during the festive holidays.
We talk about the foods that we can or cannot eat during the Lunar New Year. I will control my diet during the holidays because I should take good care of my health.
Students from the Kedah Teachers Training College used their school holidays bringing love and care to the dialysis patients.
I was going to entertain them, but when I gave them performances, I noticed that although they looked tired, they still showed smiles and even sang with us. I feel quite moved, and I think I've learned from this experience.
Besides enjoying the joyful atmosphere, they also pray for the residents affected by the Hualien earthquake, hoping the world will become peaceful and harmonious. We continue on a look back at Tzu Chi's major events in September and October of 2017.
In September, the Indonesian Navy invited Tzu Chi on board a hospital ship to hold free clinics for offshore islanders. Since 2003, Tzu Chi has been providing aid to this Islamic boarding school in Indonesia. The students have even learned to speak Mandarin.
商人，我很爱你。你什么时候来到印尼？我很想你们都来这边。
As of 2017, DaAi TV Indonesia has been broadcasting for 10 years. Thanks to the station's reports, many locals have received the help they needed. For example, having learned that children in a village had to wade through a river to go to school, Tzu Chi built a bridge for them.
所以我们就跟当地的政府跟军方合作，就把那个座桥就建好了。
This girl was born shortly after the bridge was built. Now she can go to school safely every day. In China, a housing community Tzu Chi built in Jiangsu province was inaugurated. Back in 2016, a tornado accompanied by a thunderstorm devastated a village where the descendants of Confucius lived. 3 months later, Tzu Chi decided to help rebuild their homes.
工程质量，我们都处处感受到基金会同仁们的用心，感受到他们的大爱，
延续传承孔子的仁爱与孝义。
所有孔大村的村民。
In Turkey, the new school building Tzu Chi rented for Syrian children in Sultan Gazi, Istanbul opened. Back in August, Tzu Chi members from Taiwan went to Turkey to sign a lease with the school building's landlord.
Yüreğimden katılıyorum çünkü o duyguları ben sizden daha fazla yaşıyorum.
With the new school building, these Syrian children can receive an education and hope for a better future. In Mexico, after a magnitude 7.1 earthquake hit, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately mobilized to survey the damage.
Tzu Chi, is an organization help a lot of disaster. I need your help.
Okay.
Give it a list, the name, address. Then we go check. No duplication.
Yes.
No cheating.
Moved by Tzu Chi's effort, many locals were inspired to help. During their video conferencing with the master, they even asked to become her disciples.
商人，我是你，你好，感恩。我想回应你，好吗？我想回应你，好。
The volunteers conducted a thorough survey of the disaster areas. Even Tzu Chi's first volunteer in Ecuador went to help.
I come from Ecuador. It's my first time volunteering internationally.
The volunteers also visited quake survivors from door to door to bring them comfort, ask them what help they needed, and share information about Tzu Chi with them. Volunteer training was also held for the locals.
Y esta es la mejor manera de darnos cuenta de que realmente llegas.
Lo que se aprende en esto es que con amor se pueden hacer muchas cosas. No se puede en este mundo vivir con el odio.
At the training session, a volunteer shared Tzu Chi's humble beginnings with everyone and encouraged them to do good. October, over 400 members of TIMA, or Tzu Chi International Medical Association, from 20 countries and regions, gathered in Taiwan for their annual convention.
追随典范，莫忘誓约，再造人间净土。
Tzu Chi's medical mission started in 1972 when it set up a free clinic in Hualien, eastern Taiwan, providing medical services to the poor and ill.
我还是叫你爸爸哦，你叫你啥？叫我爸爸。
Papa Lee, a general surgeon, moved to eastern Taiwan after retirement to serve people in places lacking medical resources. Even after being diagnosed with lung cancer, he persisted in caring for the ill.
你要坚强，你一定要坚强，不要想很多，不是吗？你跟我讲过的，不要想很多。
In July 2017, he made his last house call. He died in September and donated his body for medical education.
In Taipei, Taiwan, the second microfilm exhibition, which is organized by Tzu Chi Humanitarian Center, announced its winners. This year, the exhibition is themed with spreading love. All of the entries in the competition show strong vitality. On this day, many Dharma masters have also come to attend the event to deliver blessings to the Hualien quake victims, as well as spread love to people in need. This woman who always wears a neckerchief is actually a patient who had a tracheotomy due to cancer. Despite her illness, she has been striving to survive.
I feel very grateful for being able to survive. I should do a lot more to serve others. After having a car accident at the age of 12, this girl became paralyzed and has since relied on the wheelchair to move. But after turning misfortune into blessing, she has brought the inspirational spirits to everyone. Don't give up. We should be brave so that we can get through the tough times.
We should promote some good deeds and positive thoughts to the people in our society.
Dharma masters did everyone to pray piously for Hualien earthquake victims. The Rinpoche, who developed a friendship with Tzu Chi after the Nepal earthquake, has brought charity funds to be given to Tzu Chi for disaster relief.
Tzu Chi is like the ocean, and a person's strength is like the drop of water. Since little drops of water make the mighty ocean, with everyone's strength, we can also help more people in need.
Witnessing suffering of the world in disasters is like the videos in the microfilm exhibition, which help spread love to people that need help. As many people have started to clear garbage from their homes prior to the Lunar New Year, volunteers at a recycling station in Muar, Malaysia are now working overtime to help source recyclables. We will leave you with these images. Goodbye!